Dimp Digital Presents Idle Game Chat.
Hello, Apps here from Dimp Digital. Welcome to Idle Game Chat. This is the weekly video games podcast where we give our impressions of the games that you can play today and react to the latest news from the wonderful world of video games. We're here every Monday on your favourite podcast app and YouTube, absolutely free. I'm joined by the reigning Dimp Digital Gaming Quiz champion. It's Tom Adkins, not Adcock. How's it going?
Dawn, I'm still fed up.
1 week on, he's still fed up.
Still fed up. Oh, it's this lull. It's getting silly now. Just hurry up. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Till we get some next gen. I've got things I should be playing and finishing off, but it's all I've left till the end.
Right, I see.
So it's just there's good games in there, like Final Fantasy. I've got to try and push myself. I don't know why. There's something that's not making me really finish it. I don't know what's wrong with that game. So it's weird, but it's that lull where I'm just like, I can't be bothered. It's done now.
To be honest, this is the first week, and Friday everything come home to roost for me. Friday night I was sitting there, and we'll talk about. I was meant to talk about it last week, but we ran out of time. But I was playing a little well-known game, the Second Coming, some people think it is, and I'd spent a good 3 hours on it, and then it all just imploded on me, and I just couldn't be fucked. And then after that, I was like, I just want these fucking consoles here now. And I've made the mistake of selling up, and at the time it seemed like a financially sound decision, which it may well end up to be. I don't know what they're going to go for post-release, but I'm sitting here struggling now, and I'm scrapping around. And today and yesterday, at the weekend, it was just like I need these. I never thought I'd say this. I need Assassin's Creed to come fucking save me on November 10th with that Valhalla. That's what I need.
Fucking unbelievable. No, I'm ready now. Like I say, I've got stuff here, but I want that sort of reset mindset where I can just start fresh. And
also, it's something we might get to later. Like, if you were to wait and play those games on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, there's a chance it'll get a little bit of boost. Yeah. Cool, that's got some fucking boost on it, and
fucking has.
And
voice himself.
You'll be playing a better version potentially. I don't know how it will manifest in all the games, but there's certainly titles out there that you're going to get a nice little boost from. And if they do a dedicated patch, you're laughing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's almost like these are redundant, these consoles now. Unless you're one of these, a COD game who just plays that same thing every day.
Yeah.
And you might as well keep it for that.
The people on Warzone are laughing. They're laughing at us.
Yeah.
We drew a line in the sand, so we're not playing that watered down garbage, and now we're sitting here scratching our asses 3 weeks of our life. We're basically wishing it away at this point, and we've wished away most of the year because of this fucking virus, and now an extra 3 weeks of wishing, and then I know what will happen. It'll come D-Day, and because of this sort of increase in lockdowns and whatnot, we won't be able to get our hands on any of it, and we'll be left in the cold.
Oh,
that'll really top off 2020.
That would be. Oh, yeah, I'd call it a day, I think. So nah.
I had enough of this now. It's not always cracked up to be this life.
No.
Before we move on to more specific topics in the meat of the show, as usual, patreon.com/idle game chat is the place to go if you wish to support this podcast. Maybe some changes to that coming later on down the line. I'm talking like early next year perhaps, or late this year, but in terms of a sort of a branding thing, where it won't just be the podcast. Potentially you'll be getting a bit more bang for your buck, but obviously I'll keep you updated here. We're here every week, other than over Christmas there'll be a little break, I imagine, but you'll be updated when all that happens. So you might even get more bang for your buck if you head over to patreon.com/idle game chat, or it might be patreon.com/something else, who knows. But we'll leave that little cliffhanger for the people to be asking about in the comments, because they always ask about how they can pay us, and they never follow through. That's the only thing about them. They talk a good game. They don't put their hand in their pocket. Might do a GoFundMe. That's what they...
Or get OnlyFans.
Wow.
The digital OnlyFans. We can make a calendar.
Yeah.
Clocks out.
Nudes.
Just game discs hanging over our peckers.
No, we'll get bundled in with that bloke from fucking Funhouse. They'll think
Oh, yeah.
Kovic, won't it? Fucking hell.
That's him.
Jesus H.
Oh,
Christ.
Adam.
Anyway, steer away from that. Ghost of Tsushima. Now, I'd completely forgotten, not about this game. Great game. It's in there for... I ain't gonna say that, but it's got a chance. It's gonna be spoken about in Game of the Year discussions. In my view, it'll be there lurking as a contender potentially. And we both finished it, and I struggle to go back to games. I really do. Once I've done it, and they promise DLC, or they promise an upgrade or some bonus stuff, or maybe even a multiplayer option, and I think, I'll love to go back into that, and then I never do. And I had the opportunity to go back into Ghost of Tsushima because, like I said, that PS4 Pro has been sent off to Adcock and it's been sold. Someone else is enjoying Ghost of Tsushima on my behalf. But Legends mode, is that what it is? Like a separate mode?
Separate mode, yeah.
You've been playing
they
it,
dropped
though.
this just,
So you're laughing.
Just after release, yeah. I fucking had a little dabble. It came out Friday. And all weekend I haven't played, and then I woke up this morning and went, right, let's do something.
Yeah.
Force myself. So I stuck it on. And it's good, yeah. I've only played a couple of hours.
Right.
And it's a whole mode. It's like I don't remember. I think there was obviously was an update. I think it was about 10 gig, but it's essentially like a little mini Destiny. It's yeah, it's not like a game as well. It could potentially update it as a game as a service.
Oh, there are microtransactions in it now.
No,
good.
No, not that I saw. There was no.
This update.
It could be. There's the potential. I might not have seen them, but they could potentially be because the way it's set up. But as far as I'm aware, everything's all in game. But yeah, so
it's not a separate. You just load up Ghost of Tsushima, and then in the menu, there's a new option that says Legends.
New option, Legends, and New Game Plus is what you get.
Ah, yes,
that's the update. There's now like new loadouts you can do as well in the main game as well. That's the only other feature. So you can customize, you can set like different skins and different armor to different things. So that's quite fun. But no, going into this, separate entity. It goes in, you play through like a tutorial, which is playing the 4 classes. So
it's classes.
So it's classy, yeah. So it's like again, Destiny type thing. You've got, what was it? It was Samurai, which is Samurai, Ranger, I think, which is more like bow focused.
Yeah.
Samurai is a normal one. Then Assassin, which is, stealth-esque thing. And the last one was a Ronin, which is healing. That's like a healer.
Oh, okay. Right.
So you'll have your straw rats, that's him. And it goes through, you just play like a little segment, and it sort of shows you how to play the game again, which is only because I fucking completely forgot.
Yeah, that's actually
kicked.
Do they show you each of the classes how to play each of them, or is it just like you pick one? Okay.
No, they go through. You play like it's about 2 minutes each one. Takes you through a little couple of tasks just to show you how the game works. But this mode is so linear compared to the actual. The normal game would be open world. This is set in, I think it's pretty much the same map.
Yeah.
But it's just segments of the map that are sort of cornered off. Like you have like sort of like the fog of war type boundaries that if you go out of it'll reset you, gives you a go back to the action. So it's a linear space now. So it's basically just like one of the big settlements or something, or one of the camps that you mostly have to go through.
Yeah,
and they have these. I think it's about 9 stories that you can play through chapters,
cool.
And each one has about 3 chapters each, and they typically take about 15 to 20 minutes each one.
Right.
I've only done 3 so far, And yeah, you just go through with your. Once you've done the tutorial, you go through as a character. You pick which class you want to do. You only unlock one. I think the more you level up, the more you can unlock. You unlock the other classes, and then you can take them through as well.
Oh, okay. So you're not presented with all 4 classes at once.
No, you get to pick from one of each.
Okay.
You can pick straight away, but then once you've picked one, that's it. You've got to unlock the other 3 through playing. And yeah, it's like I say, it's just these little 3 chapters of sort of going through a camp and clearing the camp and doing new objectives. But it's this new sort of, it's like I say, it's a linear base. So it's not like you can't just get on your horse and start wandering around Tsushima.
Yeah.
It's it's just a linear camp. You go through, clear the objective, and then you go through a gate, which is essentially a loading screen, which will be interesting to see on the PS5 if they include that, because you go through the gate and you can so clearly tell that it's like a walkway that you walk down, and it's just obviously loading the next bit. So with these new fast SSDs, it'll be interesting to see if that's even required. Because that bad boy will just load up straight away. But yeah, so you get chucked into the world with your character, and you play with. I've just been playing with randoms at the minute.
How many people per sort of met or lobby or mission?
I thought it was up to 4 because there's 4 classes.
Yeah.
But whenever I've played, I've only ever had one other person with me. I don't know if
not being
I've
pairs.
not actually tried, but I think there is 4. I swear I've seen the option to have a party of 4. But for some reason, it never feels it. It just sticks you with one other, which seems to be all right. It's enough for you. And yeah, it works really well. And then once you've cleared the objective, like I say, there's 3 chapters per story, and 9 stories. So you do the math. And yeah, when you complete the story, you're rewarded with a leveling up system. So you go through like a rank. You get XP from, and then it gives you like gear essentially. It's like loot, but you don't loot it. It's not something you get in thing. It's just a reward system that you get, and then that loot has like a score to it, very Destiny-esque. And then you have like
it improves like your defense or whatever it can, or attack.
Yeah, that's it. And then you have like a gear score, and you have to be like, as you build that up, then you get to be a certain level, so then you can then go back through the same stories but play on a harder difficulty if you're like the recommended level. And yeah, it sort of just goes through like that. But yes, it's set in Tsushima, but this is all sort of mythical themed now. It's not the sort of grounded historical story of Ghost of Tsushima. This is now sort of going into the legendary sort of mythic tales of Japan. So it's got stuff like Onis and God knows.
The fuck are
all
they?
The little scary. They're not the ones with the masks, like the
goblins.
Goblin.
So what's a goblin?
So what's a goblin? I'm trying to think what we'd know. I know me.
I know what you mean, though. It's kind of like leaning into those non-grounded tales.
Yes, yeah. It's almost like on Creed when you had like the fucking Medusa and all that.
Yeah.
I think they're basically gone, cool, that's a good idea. We could do that with all like the fucking Japanese myths.
Yes.
So yeah, and it's really cool. So it's still like, do you remember when you did the tales in the main game? You had that geezer like reading that book, and it was like that sort of artwork all switching through. So it's all like that. But yeah, it has this sort of weird stylistic change to the game as well. So it's not just as the box standard game. It's got sort of had a complete reskin, which is quite nice. And yeah. I'll say there's nothing. It's just seemed a lot more than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be these sort of missions, but just in the same world as what it would have been. It would have I thought it was going to be in the open world, and you just run to these merchants and go through it. But no, it's a whole separate mode, and I can see people that are into this sort of loot grind getting into it and getting up to the high number, because there's also raids as well.
Is there
which
raid?
I haven't
Already?
Yeah, there's a couple of raids in there already, yeah.
Bloody hell.
So yeah, it's almost like a little mini Destiny.
So you mentioned Destiny there several times.
Destiny.
Does it have that same issue or structure for those that like it, where it's same mission over and over, not over and over again, but you know what I mean? There's like a handful of missions you do, you grind it out, or do you feel like there's enough variety there where it's worthwhile to kind of do it? Is it a replay mission one over and over, or is there no benefit to doing that potentially?
No. I think there probably will be. I think they will make it grindy once you've done the sort of 9 stories. Once you've done those, and then I suppose you're just that's all you've got left to do to upgrade is to go through them on a harder difficulty. I think there's also another mode. It's like a challenge mode, so I assume that's a bit like a sort of horde mode.
Oh yeah.
So it sounds like they're going to have that sort of stuff. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot there. I'm sure, like you say, if them raid, which I've not really looked into them, but I assume you're going to have to be like a certain level to do them, which is most of these games are like. And then I think, once you've done the 9, then you're obviously going to be going through. So I think it will fall into that same category of the sort of just replaying the same sort of short things. But that's the thing, like I said, the first couple of missions, the chapters are only about 5 minutes long. So it's nice, short and sweet missions.
Right.
Just very linear. But they've stuck stuff in here that I hadn't seen in the game, so it's like new objectives that you have to do. Like there was one mission where there was like new elements in the game, like these runes that had different elements. So I had to go
fire or ice or
that's it. So you had to go and like draw the energy out of these little things to then break the runes to stop a spell and stuff. So it's a bit added on top to what you would normally get. But yeah, and they have like new skills and stuff, new animations and death things and that, and it seemed quite good. It's probably something that I'll play for a little bit and sort of probably won't grind out to get to max level. Depends if I can find other people to play with. But
when the PS5's there, I'll play it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will wait for this. But in terms of just like a free multiplayer mode, this has got to be one of the sort of coolest free ones that have come with a game like this.
Does it surprise you how beat it is then? It sounds like you're a bit like, it's better than I thought it was going to be. And
well, I'm trying to think who else has done it. Have anyone else stuck like a bit like the Uncharted one, sort of that bolted on, you played it once and then binned it?
Yeah.
So I'm sure probably this will happen because this is a multiplayer game, but I don't know, it just did shock me the amount of sort of meat that is here.
Loads of meat to consume. What class did you pick? I
picked the assassin.
Cool.
Based on its looks as well, because you can. That's what I thought. I'm pretty sure there isn't microtransactions, but it certainly is the type of thing where they could, because straight from the beginning you can see like all what you can unlock, and they had like all the skins and different masks and that. And I thought he looked the coolest.
Yeah.
So particularly based on, I quite like playing that style. Like he's very sneaky, stealthy. And I quite like doing that, hiding in the shadows and picking them all off one by one.
Teach them a lesson.
To be honest, with that game, I do that for a little bit, but it's quite fun just running in and chopping heads.
Well, yeah. If you were I know you've only done a handful of missions, but you wanted to play a bit stealthily. Did you ever run into the issue where your partner in crime didn't and just sort of steamrolled in and you were like, right.
Yeah, that's true. But what it does is you can still sort of try and do that because they sort of focus on him, and then if you creep up behind him, you can then assassinate him.
Okay.
But then once you're in the mix, that's it. So it'd be quite cool to have sort of 4 people and see how that would work. So one ranged, one running in, one assassinating, and one healing you all. Be like fucking Overwatch.
Yeah.
Get the fucking payload. But no, I've got to say, pleasantly surprised, and it'd be interesting to see how many people get into it.
It's come at an awkward time though, isn't it? Like I just mentioned there, it's like, I mean, they were probably lucky to get you to go on and play it. In all honesty, there's a chance you'd just waited till PS5 or never tried it. But I am definitely interested in giving it a go when this whole fucking console business comes back into my life. If I'm honest, I did wonder whether they'd just wait and launch it on near or after PS5, but they've decided to.
Yeah, they've already announced, haven't they, that they've got an upgrade waiting, 4K 60. They're saying.
Wow.
Don't know when that drops.
I'll fucking believe it when I see it, Sucker Punch. But I would welcome that for sure. I mean, it's a great looking game anyway, and that's one of the ones where I'd actually consider playing through it again at 60 if it was the case. If it was a 4K 60, I'd be like, yeah, that's gonna. In a game that requires quite, finite timing, that could be silky smooth. I'd be happy with that. But Ghost of Tsushima Legend. Did you get any idea? I mean, it's only a tutorial, I guess, where you got to try the 3 other classes. But how different did they feel? Was there a? Well, I assume they had certain skills that certain couldn't do. Like
that's basically. I was going to say I was going to pick the healer because that sort of felt more as a sort of role you didn't have, whereas they've all got samurai swords, so you're essentially just playing the same thing. And my character's a stealth one, but he's got a bow and arrow. But they all have this sort of special, almost sort of like a finisher move. I think you had it. Do you remember when you used to go into ghost mode?
Yes.
And you could do that sort of stealth kill, couldn't you?
Yes.
Well, they all have one of those. So I think the stealth one sort of you sneak up on people and do a similar sort of thing to what that ghost was. The arrow one can do sort of 3 headshots from afar. The healer, which is quite interesting, he summons animals. So you can summon them like mongrel dogs, that you find in the camp. So you can summon them and give them a little pet, and then they attack for you. So that's it. And then the assassin, I can't remember what his one was. Some sort of move, I know. But
like a throwing disc or something.
Yeah, I would have thought it was something like that. But yeah, so essentially that's pretty much the only things that differentiate them. And then aside from the skins, then you've got different skins and different masks, which you can't have for each character. So they all have their own individual ones. I'm sure once you start playing, some of the skills that you can unlock and that might be different, but there's pretty much for much. You're running in, like you say, that's the only trouble when you're playing with randoms. There's no sort of communication, so you just got running in going, charge.
Should be just bowing to each other, sort of communicating that way.
But because it's a small, short, little linear segment, it's not too bad. So, yeah.
And do you have all your skills unlocked as soon as you chose to be an assassin, or are you working towards like 1 or 2 things, or is it just like there's one big skill you unlock?
So basically, it's all reset. I didn't have any different stances or anything when we had the different stances that you could pick from. So I think they're removed. But then, there's a new skill tree that you have to start from the beginning again.
Okay.
So at the end of each mission, you get these rewards for your costume or whatever. Then you have your character's thing, so you unlock like a new bow that does a certain perk. And then that's when they have the leveling system. And then, then you'll have these like skill points that you can then use on different skill tree that you have. I think it's essentially a similar sort of one that you had in the main game where you could unlock I can't remember what some of them were. New moves, wasn't it? It was like stealth kill.
Combinations and
that's it.
All sorts. Yeah, it's quite in
all
depth,
different
actually.
things like that. So it's a smaller condensed version of that, but it sort of resets and starts again. So there's nothing really carrying over from the main game. No. This is a completely new entity.
No story. It doesn't mention Jin or anything. It's like just completely new universe line. Almost.
No, it's sort of it's all based. I think it's still the sort of mongrels and. The mongrels are fucking dogs. Turned out they're real.
They fucking acted like fucking dogs in that main game. I don't think that's unfair to call them mongrels. Jesus.
Yeah,
things they were doing.
It's unbelievable. So it's just this chap reading stories, and like I say, each story of the 9 stories is all about a certain sort of, I don't know, some demon or something, some only demon that comes
and fucks things up.
And that's it. And you just work your way through while some chap's telling you a story and killing off waves of fucking demonic demon mongrels. That's I think what they are. So but they're definitely interesting and really cool artsy. I've already sat there for a little bit playing with photo mode because it looks so snazzy.
I bet your partner in crime's thrilled with that. when you're stopping to
Yeah,
fucking take
he's like,
pictures.
fucking hell, come on, mate.
Can
I
you-
noticed as well that if one goes steaming ahead and goes through the gate or something, it then teleports you towards it.
Oh, okay, right.
So it's quite handy. You ain't got some fucker that goes, no, wait for me.
Just as an AFK, it pulls them through at least. How much customization is there for your character? Can you change like the look of them, like their face or hair or anything, or is it just like masks and like clothes basically?
Yes, so no, it's everyone's. So I think you are sort of like a demon, or I don't know if you're a demon or possess something. So you sort of, you're not a human, certainly.
You're not a human,
Got, like,
Dawn.
grey skin. You've got blue glowing eyes. So yeah, it's all just cosmetic stuff. You can't change your character because you're this demon, and you can't take off your mask. I don't think so. It's all
okay.
mask.
You've always got the mask on.
Mask out.
Right.
Yeah, always got mask, outfit, and hat, and a hat. Whatever it was. Sword. Sorry, your sword. The colour of your sword. You can change. So
Well.
yeah, outfit, sword, and mask, and all the different ones.
Sounds sweet. Last question. Do you think you'll spend more time in Ghost of Tsushima Legends than you did on the Avengers multiplayer grindy part after the campaign?
I'd probably say Avengers because they're because they're updating it and adding shit. Not till like next year now. Been delayed, isn't it? Rightly so. Though. I need to fucking work on that. But yeah, this is cool. But I think I'll go through these. I've done 3 of them already, and I've got another 6 stories left, and I'll see where that goes after that. And I'd imagine I probably won't do too much with it unless going through with someone like yourself or one of the other boys. Don't feel Biff. No, did Biff get through the story?
Yeah, I think he did. I don't know. He's been a lot, isn't he? I'll ask him. See if he gets back to us before we finish the podcast this week. I asked him last week about Shadow of the Colossus, and he said, "Yeah, it was the remake, so it makes him an even worse human, really."
Oh, it's a real fucking succulent game, and he turfs that on its after 3 Colossi. Unbelievable. But yeah, no, I think it's something here for people. Like, I think it's just one of those games. That's what I loved. That's why I platinumed this game because it was just it was an easy platinum because it was just a clear down merchant. But it was just so fun playing the combat loop, and that's basically what this is. It's just a repeat of that with a couple of added spins, and it's just basically keeping people all playing.
Lovely.
It'd be interesting to see if they do try and make like a sort of service out of it or not, or if they've just done this and that's it. They're going to fucking leave it at the door and go, no. But I suppose if they can somehow monetize it and keep it going, depending how the audience takes to it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to see if they review it.
Yeah, well, imagine there will be a few places that do. I don't think it will get its own separate page on OpenCritic, but again, nice. Fuck me, I just literally got the response live from Sir Binalot, and this cunt lives up to his name. Did you finish Ghost of Tsushima? Nope. Got bored. There's your 3-word review from Biff, aka Sir Binalot. How the fuck can you not finish Ghost of Tsushima?
Blimey. Oh, that was a great game.
Yeah.
And
I'll play it again just to fucking show him. And I'll platinum the bastard the second time round.
Exactly, yeah. Just clear down. That's all you got to do. Job done.
Jesus, I have to really consider his position in the company. The amount of stuff he. Anyway, it's for HR to deal with, I guess, not me. Can't do things like that these days. Well, Ghost of Tsushima, Legends, have a go of it. Adkins is basically saying, I think, and see if it takes your fancy.
Yep.
So I mentioned that I had an implosion on Friday, and for some reason I thought I want to go through that Breath of the Wild again. I want to go through that again.
Game of the year. What?
Maybe do all the not maybe do all the shrines, but do more shrines than I did previously.
Oh,
blah, 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 blah. So about 2 weeks ago, I started the process.
So what did you do? Reset or
complete reset, Jobby?
New Game Plus?
No New Game Plus, no Master Mode because that's fucking hard. I didn't want to deal with any of that.
Is that the one where you like start off with nothing?
Yeah, well, I think no. So master mode is, or not master mode, it's something else. I'll look it up in a second. But it's basically a harder difficulty of Breath of the Wild. So it's the same game, but there's more higher level or harder enemies earlier on. Enemies can like regain health if you don't keep on top of them, things like that. And I guess it's just a harder.
There's a cool little feature they added into the DLC, which I never bought. I should get that really just to try it. But in the map, they sort of showed you where you'd walked.
Yeah,
like,
the hero's path.
That was a brilliant idea. I'd be really interested to see where I've gone and think, fuck, I've never been over here.
Yeah, it does. There's a certain limit on the amount of hours it will track, but yeah, it's useful. But again, that I believe was a DLC paid jobby.
Yeah.
It weren't like a Ghost of Tsushima free update. And
no.
When you look at what's being handed out for free and then what these fucks have held back, sometimes you have to query these Nintendo bastards. Anyway, I sat there and started playing it. I was like, yeah, Great Plateau. Spent probably 3 hours just on the Great Plateau, like really giving that a good explore, collecting all sorts of stuff, and I was enjoying it. Anyway, I played it a few more times, and it got to Friday, and I was like, right, I've got a big session planned here. And then I don't know, I got to Impa's little village. She told me about the basics of what's going on. About 6 hours deep at this point, and I've barely even scratched it. And then went to the technology labs, got my camera sorted, and I was like, right, now I've got everything kitted out. I've got all my runes basically kitted out. I've got the camera. That's the last of the ones. And now I'll start sort of trying to play it. I couldn't be bothered.
Cut it in the bin.
I just couldn't. I started like wandering around trying to find shrines. Did a few of those. Then I was like, oh, I'll go to Robbie's place. There's like another technology lab, and it was like right northeast of the map. And so I just bombed it over there, like sprinted and ran over to where it was, like skipped all this stuff.
And it's hard to get old, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember if I actually find one.
It's really, it's not the way to. The thing is, I started getting to the stage of chasing objectives, and that game just isn't cut out for that.
No.
And yeah, I had to walk away from it, and just that was the end of it.
No.
I'm not saying it's a bad game.
No.
It's got one more chance, and I'll tell you what the chance is. 2021. I'll switch on. I'll go on Sifted 1080. But yeah, I'll go on Sifted.net and I go and I see Switch Pro announced, and they go March 2021. And they go Zelda Breath of the Wild upgrade, full HD. I go, okay, I'll have to just take what I can get out of these Nintendo fucks. And that's the only way I'm going to go back and ever play that game, I think. And to be honest, the Switch, and the wider point was, I'm sitting here looking at this Switch, I've got Dead Cells on there, I could play 3D All-Stars on there, I was thinking of getting, like, I could get Hades on there, which is reviewed really well. I've got Hollow Knight on there, I've got Sonic Mania on there, I've got Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, all this stuff. What's that other one? That one that Hall loved? Fucking Three Houses, I remember it's called.
Oh, yeah, Fire Emblem.
Got that on there. None of it's been touched. It's all just sitting there rotting. And that Switch might have to sit there and rot until they bring out a new one, if they do. And
it's just I think it's this mentality now that we're just in this sort of limbo between generations.
You know what part of it was? Is when I was playing it, I played like about an hour in handheld, which was good. But the rest I put in my monitor, my 1440p monitor. It's 27 inches, nothing big. I chucked it on the big one. Fuck me, did it look bad. But even on the small one, it looked fucking grubby. And I was like, oh, not normally like that with games. But I feel like the Pro and the One X have actually shown that, you know, a bit of 4K or checkerboard in here and there does look really good. Then when you go back to something like Breath of the Wild running at whatever it is, 900p, you don't half notice.
Cool.
And now I'm thinking I need a bit of a technology boost out of, not all the games like that. A lot of Nintendo games can get away with it, but even when I played Mario Odyssey, I went back and done the world tour of that. like followed Peach around doing what I wanted to do. That you could tell looked grubby, and I was a bit like, Christ, I don't remember him looking like this. But having like a good couple of years, I guess, with 4K ish machines has.
Like I say, the sort of last few games that have come out have all been proper gorgeous, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Ghost of Tsushima just then, like.
Yeah.
Fucking stunning. Last of Us Part 2.
Oh, unbelievable. Then you get yourself a fucking Avengers Muddy Waters.
Yeah. Well, that's what you end up with. But yeah, I don't know what to do with that Switch now.
No, I've still a similar sort of thing. It's
ain't exactly had a load of games out, has it, this year?
No, it's been a funny year, really. And they've sort of stuck, like, not shadow dropping, but left it late in the doors and gone, like fucking 3D All-Stars. That was like about a couple of weeks before it was announced.
Yeah.
And then they're like, it's coming out in a couple of weeks.
And you can only get it for 6 months. It's like, why?
That's it, yeah. What? Paper Mario is another one that went, that'll be in a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's been a funny old year for the Switch. But again, I've sort of lost interest of playing it. There's nothing that sort of really drawed me in.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's with these new consoles coming, we're just sort of waiting for them, and it's just that new tech, and it's sort of just stopping us from going back to the old shit. It's become old shit, so we don't want none of it.
Not interested.
For the new stuff, I'd rather play fucking 6 out of 10 of Assassin's Creed. Give me Dirt fucking 5. It looks worse than fucking Horizon.
That's what we're going to be stuck with, unfortunately. Speaking of shiny new things, we got to see the PlayStation 5 UI.
Ooh.
So the user interface has undergone a bit of a spring cleaning. I feel like we've seen the Xbox One, but it's the same. Am I wrong in saying that, or is it just...
No. Well, when they, all these influencers and YouTubers and what all sending out videos going, look what I've got, fucking got it. Oh, I can't show you much, embargo.
Yeah.
Then they started, all we've really seen is this quick resume, a lot of backwards compatibility. And they were like, well, I can't show you the dashboard or anything. Right. And then there's not been no one said anything about embargo, but I've just noticed on loads of videos now that they're just sticking it in.
Just there, yeah.
It's just sort of there in the background. I'm like, oh right, so that's what the dashboard looks like. And all I can really tell that's different is it's got like a different background, a bit of a live sort of green swooshing thing that's going on in the background.
Yeah.
Other than that, it looks exactly the same as the updated one on the Xbox One X.
We're talking UIs quickly, and it is a very dull subject of reality, but sometimes we struggle. Who's out of the PS4 or the Xbox One's UI dashboard did you prefer?
I got to say they're both pretty weak, I thought.
I'll tell you what I liked about the PS4.
Yeah.
It's one simple thing.
Yeah.
Themes.
Yeah, that's quite nice.
Themes.
Yeah. The things that annoy me is in little cards. They look like they're busy. As I get older, I'm very minimalist. I don't like clutter anymore. Keep mentioning this on the podcast. Clutter everywhere, and they've fucking stuck all these. I like that they've added more to the achievements this time round. They're doing what Xbox have done for fucking years, where giving you sort of a percentage of how close you are to the achievement, being able to track them and that. Fucking Xbox are like, come on, mate, I've been doing that for the last gen. That's quite fun. But now they're adding these new little adventures you can do. Activities, sorry, that's it. Activities, so you can sort of fast travel to a bit in the game and work. It would work well for trophy hunters, I suppose.
I was going to ask you about that. You've been chasing these platinums sometimes.
Yeah.
And you've even got little bits that in some cases tell you about an hour left to do this.
Yeah, that was really cool. I want to know how they're working that out. That's interesting because so many people play different games. I suppose they just make a sort of average. But there's some good stuff there. Like certainly with collectibles, it was you could bring up a YouTube video at some sort of video, and you could have it sort of picture-in-picture mode, so you could carry on playing whilst watching this little video. So that was quite interesting. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I suppose I was expecting too much, really. But I do like that they've kept everything on one big screen.
4K
but
HDR.
Yeah, 4K. Yeah, that was a thing. I saw. Was it you who put that or someone else?
Oh yeah, so the Xbox is only going to be 1080p. No one's going to. Well, people will notice, but it's just a bit of a. You'd think they'd just chuck it in at 4K, but they're not. I reckon they'll update that later, but
yeah.
But they're adding. Sony have taken one step further, saying the fucking UI is going to be in HDR, which actually, although it's the most minorest of inconveniences, when you sometimes put on a game that's got HDR on, it'll knock the screen dark as it turns it on, whereas that shouldn't happen if the whole PlayStation's set up for it. But the main thing I picked out of it was, it looks okay. I quite like. I mean, some of those features it was showing where you could like look at a little walkthrough, or picture in picture, you could be watching your mate play, like quickly joining.
Quite interesting with the parties and that.
Yeah, that was all. Seemed like it was pretty. I doubt I'd use any of it, and I've refused to believe that picture in picture mode will work because I tried using the old when you could like come in the party and watch me play. I've tried that with a few people and it never bloody worked. So I don't be trusting that, if I'm honest. It's a bit of an internet bottleneck. But the one thing they mentioned now, whether this comes home to roof, was that you'll get potentially 4K screenshots and videos. Now, the video front's what interests me as someone who's, done a lot of YouTube videos and gameplay and bits, and like always looking to try and capture or ways to capture video, using a capture device always, because that was the only option really. So if the in-house solution in some way, and again we look at memory space issues, I don't know how this will work, whether if you can just run a capture of a game in 4K native, that for me would be huge. But I have a feeling it will be restricted to 15 seconds or a short time, and it won't actually be usable in that way. But it's that sort of stuff that I was kind of looking out for. The screenshots are being 4K. But
I like what they did as well with the PlayStation 1 is sticking the media in a different area as well. That's always annoyed. I have to bundle up on my PS4. I've got a little folder full of all the little media bits.
Yes.
It gets in the way, but they're very Netflix, these new.
They are, aren't they?
Dropping it down, it just reminded me a lot of Netflix. But it's nice that we're getting this sort of feature, but I don't know, sort of just a bit underwhelmed by it, I suppose. I suppose it's because it's not really.
It's not weird. We don't buy these things for this sort of garbage. It's the games that need to be seen, and we haven't seen a lot of the PlayStation 5 running. And again,
Jim's sitting there fucking cackling.
He is. He don't give a fuck. Well, that kind of moves us nicely into kind of the final part of this podcast. It's how the different approaches that Microsoft and Sony have taken with regards to the consoles, in how they're marketing them or promoting them in the public eye. We've seen, I think, two very different approaches almost from the get-go, like in terms of messaging. Both have fucked up the messaging at some point or another. We're now at the business end of it. We're in the last sort of 3 to 4 weeks of when we're going to get our hands on these bastards, and the two have taken very different approaches. You've got, like you mentioned earlier, the influencers, the YouTubers, the outlets. Still waiting for mine, to be honest, but I haven't got it. Of the Xbox Series X has been sent out under heavy embargo, so you can only show backwards compatibility games. You can't show this, you can't show all this sort of stuff, and it's kind of information slowly trickled out. Sony, what have we seen? A fucking bloke take it apart, and we saw the size of it is bigger than his torso, and then this UI basically. So they're very much controlling the message and what we're seeing by producing stuff in house. So my question to you is, which one of these approaches so far, bearing in mind we've got a few weeks left and it'll probably ramp up, has been working for you? Which would you prefer? Has Sir Phil got it right, or has Jim stolen his lunch money and done a little bit of a cheap in-house jobby?
It's interesting because I like Xbox's approach where they're getting you hyped up, they're drip feeding this information, but it is coming.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's getting excited, like we're now starting to see builds of next gen games. We're getting demos of Dirt 5 and Yakuza Like a Dragon. So we're starting to see that where we've not had nothing from PlayStation. it's hard to. I would normally I'd say, yeah, I think PlayStation are doing it wrong. This is the wrong way to go about it. They should be doing a similar sort of thing. But there's almost like an arrogance of it. It's Jim going, well, it doesn't matter what Xbox are doing. You're going to buy this.
We've already pre-ordered it. We've run out of pre-orders. It's there.
Yeah.
I could show you nothing if I wanted.
Yeah. Whereas the Xbox market, it doesn't really feel like it's anything about the console. That's the different vibe I'm getting from both of these companies. PlayStation seem to be going like, this is their console. Look at the fucking size of this monster. It's going to be a real fucking in-your-face, loud console.
No, not loud.
We're going to want this because we've got... Yeah, fucking hopefully not loud. You're going to want this because you've got exclusives here that are the best fucking games on the planet. You want this console. Yeah. Whereas Xbox has been, they're like, we couldn't give a fuck which one you buy. It's up to you. We've got this black box. It's no visually appeasing there. Exactly. Looks like a fucking grenade launcher. Whatever it is. What we want is we want to get you on our Game Pass service. That is our fucking focus. We want to get you a subscription up and you're going to get absolute fucking value for money here. So yeah, and I like both approaches, but I don't know. I suppose that the Xbox seem to be doing the better at the minute for me because I'm seeing more and it's getting me more hyped. Whereas it's exciting that it's hard to be dismissive of PlayStation because they're not showing you anything. But I just know that they'll have the games.
Yeah, it's tough.
It gives me. I'm worried now about PlayStation. At the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, right, it's their arrogance. They know, they've made a thing about they're leaving last gen behind, even though they've fucking gone back on that. But at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, why ain't you showing us? Is this because fucking games run like trash or something?
Yeah, it's concerning. I mean, in what I've been picking up from, and like when a couple of weeks ago, I think the Xbox Series X kind of landed with outlets and influencers. I watched about 4 videos and they was all saying the same stuff. It was like, here's the backwards compatible titles running on it. And then I think the best video I saw was Digital Foundry kind of showing the differences between the Series X and the One X. I was like, look, it runs, like Hitman was one that I picked out. It runs at 30 on the One X, but on the Series X it runs at 60 pretty much, give or take, sort of native 4K. And I was like, that's the sort of stuff that I kind of want to see. Yeah. But then after that, because there was like a video probably at least once a week, there's like a new like bit of tidbit information from Xbox. I was like, I can't be asked to keep watching all these fucks. Like the way they show it, and it's all a bit like blah blah blah. Here's what I've done today. Here's what, and it's like, right. I kind of just preferred the fact that Sony have just been putting out official videos saying like, we're going to show you this today. There you go. See you in 10 days, bye-bye. And you haven't got all the guff then. I mean, you have got all the fake sort of marketing, like it's obviously all corporate and whatnot, but you haven't got to deal with these annoying personalities sitting there, sort of Greg Miller rattling away at you.
So it's 4 weeks on Tuesday, isn't it, for the PlayStation? So it's
for us, I think it's later, isn't it?
Yeah, I was forgetting today. I only realised today that I'll be getting games. I'll be getting fucking Spider-Man sitting there fucking on the 12th when we get the Xbox, and that I won't have a console to play on.
Is it coming early, is it?
Yeah, I looked today. I thought it was the 19th, but it comes out on the 12th. So
I wonder if they'll hold it back in the UK so it comes to you on the 19th.
All the release dates and that are all saying 12th.
Well, yeah, that's when it releases in the US, doesn't it? So.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, they get it on the 12th. I don't know what they're going to do over here, whether they're going to just... Because all the accessories are going to be available, I think, on the 12th.
Yeah, the 12th as well. So I wonder if they'll do the games, which I'll personally, my personal position, I think will be handy because if I'm getting a game delivered off of a website and I go and get that console first thing in the morning and the game don't fucking arrive till halfway through the day. So if I've got it a week early just sitting here, that'll benefit me better, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'd be interesting. But yeah, I didn't realise. So, but yeah, it's strange that these consoles now, the Xbox Series X, these influencers and YouTubers have had them for about 2 weeks now, haven't they?
Yeah, and the thing about doing that is, like I said, I get irritated by having to watch the people sometimes. But you got other things. Like, I remember a week ago there was like rumours stirring that the console got really hot. And like, because it's out there, like people like it starts like building momentum. It turns out it sounds like it's bollocks, so it's nothing to worry about. But I guess that's the risk you run of letting it out in the wild a little bit, is that you can have these little rumours start circulating, and there's no kind of official line. Like
that sort of thing. This is what it excites me about like PlayStation. It is the arrogance. They're so confident in their product, and it's
they're just
sort
petrified.
Yeah, it's true, but. I felt this with when they binned E3. I sort of thought, you fucking arrogant fucks, you're sort of saying that you don't need Xbox, you don't need E3, you're bigger than them. But I suppose, like, when Xbox do their conferences and stuff, and you're like, oh, this is fucking awkward and like embarrassing in some bits. And I just sit there, I think, no, PlayStation have got that right, boy. They just null that out, then they can't look stupid.
No, they haven't got to worry about
so I'm thinking same with these consoles. So if they're not dishing them out, people ain't going to go, this is going to be a leaf blower, or this ain't going to get hot. So are they doing the right thing? I don't know. But it's annoying because I want to see more, but at the same time I don't. I was half tempted not to watch that UI thing because I wanted to be a bit of an excitement, but
okay, yeah.
Curiosity got the better of me, and I just stuck it on and watched it. But yeah, I suppose that's the trouble now. Like, I remember when we both got the Switch, I sort of knew where everything was going to be in the box because I watched so many videos of unboxing and all that. I was like, oh, there's the power lead. So
I can't wait to get the PS5 box. It's going to be like a fucking suitcase. Carry that home.
Those poor fucking courier drivers on day one, lifting them fuckers in and out of the van all day long.
I ain't going to be happy with that. So if for some reason someone come to you and went, look, you can only get one of these consoles now, and it's based on this whole journey up until now, sort of 3 weeks out, which one would you be going for if you just rely on your wits that you've got at the moment?
I suppose it would have to be the PlayStation for me, which is ridiculous. I just said about how I think Xbox are doing the right thing. Just because of the games. So it always boils down to the games. And even just watching a Game Informer have now got sort of exclusive previews with Spider-Man, and just watching that, I was just like, wow, it looks so much better than the 2018 game. It's even got me sniffing at the remaster, even though I know it ain't going to get played. It's pointless.
You've seen that clip of when he goes into the hideout?
Yeah.
And it shows like the OG Spider-Man. So when you clear a hideout, it loads you in and loads you out. And it takes about 20 seconds to do that. In Miles Morales, it looks like once you finish a hideout, you just web straight out into the open world. It's like, whoa.
It just looks like even just a whole overhaul of graphics. It was incredible. Like a scene where he goes into like a shop, and just the cutscenes, I was just like blown away by what this shop owner looked like. And then now they're fucking including cats. You can get a spider cat.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, it goes down to the games, and I like the look of the PlayStation 5, and a lot of people turned off by it, and the size is definitely a concern, but I don't know, I have been excited. It really, I think the reveal of the PlayStation 5 really got me compared to like the Series X. That was a surprise. It came out of nowhere. No one expected it to be announced at Game Awards.
No.
But to know there was just some sort of like it's almost like an added mystery with this thing because of little bit we're getting. Probably their whole strategy is sort of treat them mean, keep them keen sort of thing. Just fucking feeding us little scraps. Be like 2 days before it releases, and they start fucking dishing out preview models. But yeah, like I say, it comes down to the games.
Yeah.
So I don't know, because I was thinking about just having one this generation, and that was going to be PlayStation. I was just going to stick with one and bin off Xbox altogether, but that Game Pass is just too hard to turn down. So
could have put it on the potato PC.
Yeah, could have done. Stick with the fucking 1080p potato, but no, I've done both. But yeah, if it was one, I suppose I'd go PlayStation. But
yeah, if anyone's got a passing interest in Miles Morales, Demon Souls, Sackboy, God forbid, and that Destruction All Stars, like that's it. Like all the
the thing is, that's the thing. I mean, there's a plethora of games there, but you've also got like with Creed, Watch Dogs, and Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
that's 3 potential awesome games that are coming out as well, which are going to tide you over until next year easily.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what sort of numbers are being quoted, but I can imagine certainly Cyberpunk's going to be a lengthy game.
Oh yeah. They said shorter than Witcher 3. I was like, that don't give me much.
I was going to say, I think that took me about 90 hours.
That was a bit too long in some areas, but it's a bit shorter than that, but it'll still be a package worthwhile. Yeah, it's just interesting to see whether any of the stuff they've released has changed things, but I don't think it has for either of us. I like the fact that there's about a week and a half separation for us in the UK, so I can get a good, 10 days almost in with Valhalla and with the Xbox, and then
I quite like that. And because the reason I wanted to stick with one console is because I hate that sort of fucking I'm in an hour of what to get what, and always goes back to fucking Digital Foundry these days to sort of wait for their assumption that they're so influential in my sort of game purchasing now that I just leave it up to them. So it's quite good that we'll get their reports before we actually get these consoles, so we'll know what console runs better for each.
Well, hopefully we will.
Well, yeah. I
wonder if Digital Foundry will get a PS5 before the 19th, before like the UK release date.
Yeah, it'd be potential. They seem to have a good relationship with Xbox, don't they? They've got one. I even seen like the Xbox Twitter account was sort of retweeting their videos of their. Yeah. When you'd think like big companies like them fucking hate them because they're just, if it weren't for them, they wouldn't be pulling their games to bits, going, "Cool, this is great."
Screen tearing. 2020.
That's it. Years ago, if that would have happened in a PS2 game, we wouldn't have even known what it was. But now, I bet the developers are like, fucking hell, who's let these cunts out?
Yeah. I must say, I'm really impressed with like what we've seen in terms of the native boosting that the Series X is offering, like the games that they've showed and the
even like we've got these plethora of new games coming, and they're thinking, right, what are we going to buy? It's still, I'm quite excited just to load up a load of old games and see how better they run and stuff.
Yeah.
Certainly something like Avengers, like it's an absolute pig. So just to see if it has a natural boost straight out the gate.
It'd be interesting. I made a list of games that I haven't played or haven't finished, and I thought it won't be that long. And these are games that I've either owned or wanted to play or earmarked.
Yep.
84 of them.
No, that's now on my sort of backlogs.
I mean, unfortunately, I don't think I've actually started any of them, but I was like, right, I'm never going to run out of games in this life once I've already got... This was like a last-gen backlog list. I was like, my goodness, that is horrendous.
Xbox got fucking 4 generations you can go back
I know. I drew a line under it. I was like, anything from Xbox One onwards. I'm not
think about that as well, the news this week that PlayStation are cutting out the Vita and the PS3 from their store. That's it. It's almost again with their sort of strategy that this is the next gen. That's it. Get rid of it. But then they go, no, these all games are coming to PS4 as well.
Yeah, better bloody do. Well, that's it. Next few weeks. There's I don't know why I'm saying this because it's just going to go wrong and it won't happen, but we may be doing some look backs at the current generation that we're sort of in limbo in between the new generation starting. So I'm hoping that we can do like either a 2 to 3 episode run where we look at each of the platforms and some of the best games that we'd played throughout each of them. So that's the plan. Now, if something major happens, I don't know, it'd have to be something pretty major, then that may get blown out the water, but look forward to us sort of looking back at the generation and ending on a high note, announcing what our game of the generation collectively is going to be, like a list of perhaps 6 nominations and then 1 winner. So that's the plan for sort of the next 3 weeks as we move into this ever closer area. Now, I'm sure there's going to be new next-gen news that comes out, and if it's big enough, we'll chat about it. If not, we was talking about a fucking UI for 10 minutes today, so when you're scratching around at that sort of level for chat, then perhaps you just leave it away. So that's what we're looking to do. Probably start with Xbox, as it I believe, I don't know if it did come out first now, but basically it'll be Xbox One, PS4, and then there'll be like an actual game of the generation, and all the kind of bits and pieces that will come out in due course. But that's the plan. And if it doesn't happen, don't moan about it, because things change. Might just cull the podcast suddenly, sting people, and go, "Wait."
Got fans on Twitter, mate, saying how good our episodes were.
They love it.
So,
They do. Especially India.
yeah, how's the old Indian audience getting
Let's have a look. Might as well just do a little check-in with those guys. Let's have a look at the dashboard here and jump into analytics. So, past 7 days, up 24%.
Oh, there we go. Quarter.
Still growing. Last 28 days, up 563%. So the effect is big. Up in the last 90 days, 343%.
Slough's a big place.
Pardon?
Slough's a big place.
Yes, it is a big place indeed. And if you want to just look at the markets, India have a stronghold on the podcast of a clean 87%. So they're dominating. So hello,
India.
Put your hand in your pockets. Patreon.com/idlegamechart. Chat, fucked it.
We do rupees.
I don't know actually what the currency is in India.
Well, it was Indian rupees. Maybe not. Fucking Zelda rupees.
Well, no, Indian rupee, correct. 1 Indian rupee is worth 0.011 pounds sterling.
There you go.
So if they put their hand in pocket and went to one of our bottom tiers at Patreon, it'll cost them 284 rupees.
There you go.
So there you go. That's a call to action for you 87% out there. Right, it's descended into chaos. Good night. Good evening. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
This was a Dimp Digital production.